What up, friends? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. So having 15 billion fragrances can be kind of cool. You can switch things up from time to time and get a new fragrance going. And by time to time, I mean literally every single day of your existence.
That's what they all say.
But sometimes it's better just to have a fragrance that you can lock in and wear all year round, whenever you want. And that's what we got today. Fragrances you can wear in any situation, any temperature, and be covered. And by covered, I mean smell good. What fragrance can you wear year round? Invictus Parfum, bro. Yeah, that right there will work. That'll do the job. Basically takes that Invictus freshness and sweetness and makes it grow up a little bit, you know? Basically, it's Invictus telling itself, hey man, you just gotta get your stuff together, you know? You can't be acting like you're 12 years old for your entire life. That didn't work for anybody, for the most part.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
So basically it has that Invictus style to it, that compliment factor, but this time a little bit more grown up and also a little bit cleaner with that soapy aspect it has. You can wear this stuff year round easy. Doesn't matter if it's in the middle of summer or the middle of winter, it'll work. Now, some of you out there might think to yourself, well bro, why would you even need a fragrance that you're gonna wear year round? You know, I want ones that are hyper specialized. Spring, summer, fall, winter, day, night, formal, casual, office, date. You know, all that stuff. And fair enough, if you want to really nail it down, you can do that. I've gone overboard with that.
Uh-oh. Houston, we have a problem.
But a lot of guys don't want to go too complex. They just want to be like, hey, can I wear this whenever I want? That's literally, that's all that's important to me, so here we are. Now the most obvious one in the world, Bleu de Chanel. Eau de Parfum. This is almost like the poster child or poster fragrance for that type of scent that is just basically grab, spray, go. It works fantastically casually. It works well formally. You could wear this to a symphony. You can wear this to the grocery store. It's like the blueprint from which other blue fragrances were born. And it's expensive because it's Chanel. Thanks, Chanel. I've said this before, I'll say it again, but I think that as far as just versatility, this is quite possibly the most versatile scent that's ever been made in the designer realm. Like this stuff, pretty sick. But you can't have a Chanel without a Dior. That's cheating. And of course, you know what Dior's coming up next. Dior Homme 2020. Now, of course, Dior Sauvage, that would absolutely work. You can go Eau de Toilette or Eau de Parfum, either one of those, and you're gonna be locked in. But Dior Homme 2020, that's gonna give you a little bit of a different vibe. So here we're talking something more fresh, spicy, woody, something more of a modern man's fragrance. Kind of clean, cedary sort of scent profile to it. ISOE Super, one of the main notes in here. Extremely easy to wear, but it is going to be a different vibe. It's not your typical blue fragrance. So like I said, if you want to go Dior Sauvage, that would work too. And if you like this scent profile, but you do want to just freshened up, made maybe a little bit easier to wear when it's warm outside, Dior Homme Sport. Nice. So we've got the grown-up version of a sweet bomb fragrance. We have one of the most versatile blue scents ever made. We've got the modern, classy, woody fragrance. I know what we're missing. Something that smells like Aventus. Yeah. Mont Blanc Explorer, really popular, very affordable, assuming you're shopping at discounters. And to be fair, when you're talking Aventus-style fragrances, there are a number of them out there, you could say. We're talking specifically designers today, so I'm not gonna bring up any of the clone versions of Aventus, of which there are 1 or 2,000. But even just going designer fragrances only, there are a lot of Aventus type scents out there. Of course, this one's the most well known, but there's also stuff like Baldisserini's Signature or Mercedes-Benz Select, among many others. What this one basically does is it takes that Aventus style and it makes it more approachable for an everyday wear designer type of scent. So you're not gonna get as much of a smokiness here. You're not gonna get that heavy birch note in here. You're also not gonna get as big of a blast of pineapple. This one instead has bergamot. You're not gonna have those floral nuances along the edges that you can pick up in Creed's Aventus either. Although I guess I should say when it comes to Aventus, nobody really cares about the jasmine that's in there anyway, so it's kind of a moot point. But yeah, this is basically a stripped back, modern, clean, fresh take on Creed Aventus. And in general, very easy to wear and people love the stuff. Now, of course, I mentioned discounters and you want to shop discounters for all of these that aren't Chanel because Chanel fragrances never pop up at discounters. Because if they did, Chanel would sue them into a living death. You think I'm playing? I'm not. Rest in peace, Beauty Spin, AKA Notino in the United States. Basically, still exists in Europe though, so But yeah, bros, if you shop at fragrance discounters, of which there are a multitude, I have codes that you can use to save extra money on them. JOMASHOP, FragFlex, Perfume Box, and many, many more. They're also in the description so you can copy and paste down there anytime you shop at those stores, save yourself some extra cash. Guilty Elixir. Up next. Now I've said for a while, Guilty Black, the original Guilty, they get overlooked a lot of times nowadays, and they work exquisitely, just magnificent for an anytime fragrance. Those two fragrances are leaning on that like fresh, clean, sweet side of things. Guilty Elixir, that's a little bit higher end, both in terms of price and how it smells. This Elixir, because every fragrance line has an elixir now. It's the rules now that every single fragrance line in existence has to have an elixir, because if it doesn't, that means it's not a real line. That's not an actual rule, but I'm pretty sure it is actually. It's not, but it is, but it is, but it's not. Guilty Elixir here smells like Reflection Man mixed with Parfums de Marly Pegasus. Basically take those two high-end niche fragrances, meld them together, and you get this right here. Now it does have big time push, so if we're talking middle of summer, you know, if you spray it on then, I would dial those sprays down, but outside of that, you're good to go. Personal favorite of mine, Ralph's Club New York. That's pretty good. That's pretty good right there. So right here, we're talking blackcurrant off the rip along with citrus and lavender. Ooh, it smells nice. Yeah, this, oh, my voice. I think part of the inside of my throat just blew out. Whew. This stuff opens up fantastic, slightly tart from the blackcurrant, but also very smooth, fruity, very attention grabbing. A nice sweetness from vanilla as it dries down and this sort of aromatic edge to it. You can wear this stuff year round. Easy. Also got compared a little bit to myself Absolute. Also partially because the bottles look kind of the same, but I also have that in today's list to make sense. Yeah. Myself Absolute basically takes that Myself DNA, that orange blossom front and center, gives you a nice ginger opening, this nice pop of fresh spice, a little touch of sweetness, some fruit in there as well, and that sort of amber, woody, adjacent patchouli as it dries down. Great performance, great versatility. This is one of the more popular men's fragrances on the market today, and the reason why is if you wanted to have just one bottle, right, just rock with one bottle, your entire collection just distilled down into one, you could realistically get this, wear it whenever you want, and it's gonna work. Always. It has enough performance that you're not gonna have to respray over and over. It projects well enough that you're gonna get noticed, but it's not so crazy, you know, sweet and bold that middle of summer is gonna choke people out. And it's also not so flighty and weak that during winter it just disappears. So if you wanna go with either one of these silver colored bottles, both will work. So we're about halfway through. How about Eros Flame by Versace? Versace, Eros. So Eros Flame, this is almost like a cult classic fragrance nowadays. Maybe not super classic because it's not that old, but you know what I mean. When it was first released, it was just kind of like, Eros Flame, whatever. Didn't really take off in as big a way as the OG Eros did, but then something happened. Basically the same thing that actually happens with all cult classic things.
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
People realized after the fact, myself included, that it's actually pretty good. Now, I'm not saying this is on par with Shawshank Redemption, because it's not. But same kind of deal, right? Shawshank Redemption came out, and when it was first released, you know, it was brand new. A lot of people were like, I don't care about that. That's stupid. It's lame. It's about prison or something, and I don't know. Doesn't look very good. Not interested. Then over time, they started to show it on TV, and more people talked about it. More people saw it. And then they were like, yeah, I don't know if you know this, but Shawshank Redemption, actually pretty sick. Actually pretty freaking fire. It's pretty good. I'm putting you on to it. And that's what happened with this. A lot of people were like, hey, actually low-key, Eros Flame's pretty good. Can't judge a book by its cover. You know, how many times we get to learn that? To be fair, I don't think I've learned that still. So apparently never is how long it takes to learn that, never. Eros Flame does almost everything right. It's got that citrus in there, the nice sweetness. It's got Kinoto in there, which gives it just like a little edge, you know? It's aromatic, but then has almost like a hint of creaminess in there at times. It's got great performance. The versatility is huge. The compliment factor is there, like everything you want in a day-to-day fragrance. And it's from a huge line. It's just not as well known. It's good. It's real good. All right, check it. Le Beau Le Parfum, Jean Paul Gaultier. So what's the deal with Le Beau Le Parfum? Well, this is one that most people would think of as a summertime fragrance, summertime staple, right? It's like, oh, it's a tropical explosion. It's got coconut in there. It grabs attention right away. It's like an island vacation. And, you know, actually part of that's true, for sure. And it is a massive, massive compliment puller, actually one of the best ones out of all of these. Here's the deal with it though. If we're talking middle of summer, when it's really hot, if you're going somewhere humid or something like that, you're gonna be around a lot of people, maybe you're gonna be sweating or something, take that into consideration because it's kind of strong. And so this is one of those ones where if you go heavy, if you're just an unchained lunatic, you know, spraying yourself 35 times, because you pulled up TikTok once in your life and it was like, hey, if you're not doing 50 plus sprays, are you even wearing the fragrance? I want to see grandmas dropping like flies when I walk around, you know what I'm saying? I want it to look like the beginning of a post-apocalyptic zombie film where everybody is getting infected at the same time, but they're not actually getting infected. They're running away from you because they can't breathe. It's like pre-Geneva Conventions and you're hitting them with gas attacks and they're just running and scrambling, mass chaos. And again, it looks like fast zombies running away and just like tripping over stuff. That's what you gotta do. And if you ain't doing that, you ain't wearing a fragrance, brother. So I want you to take that advice, okay? I want you to take it. Hold that advice. And when you're dealing with something like this in the middle of summer, when it's really hot and humid, you take that advice and you throw it the F out. What are you doing? Use your brain, guy. Or girl. Forgot what I was talking about. Don't spray it too heavy in summer. In winter, go wild, who cares? Within reason. What's that? Oh, that's Bad Boy Cobalt. Of course, we all know Bad Boy Cobalt. Yep. Sneaky, stupid, good is what this is. As much as you may try to go, the corny bottle, the lightning bolt, I do not respect you. As much as you may say that, the more you smell this, and the more you wear this, you'll come around. It's got a really interesting mixture of almost a slight minerality, clean earthiness, plum, and this great, almost fizzy lift to it. It gives it a unique scent profile outside of Invictus Platinum, which smells kind of similar to this, but between the two, I'd rather wear this one. And it will surprise you with how often people say it smells freaking amazing. It's one of those ones where you may even try to convince yourself like, oh, it's not that good. But then you wear it around people and their reactions will change your mind real quick. I'm telling you, in the past, over the last, decade plus, there have been so many fragrances where I've been like, well, it's not that good. And then I wear it around friends, family, acquaintances and stuff, and everybody's like, what is that? That one's really nice. What's the name of that? I'm gonna buy one. I'm gonna get one. It smells that good. I'm gonna immediately spend my money. And then you have to start going, that's actually pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. That's all me, dude. I've got good taste. So we talked a little bit over here about some modern woody fragrances that you can rock all year. How about this one? Hero. This is the OG Hero. Now, I do think the Eau de Parfum's the better of the two fragrances between this one and that one, but that one is a little more specific. That one is more like fall, winter time in the evening. This is more whenever you want. It is gonna be focused on 3 different types of cedar. So if you don't like cedar, this is probably the #1 designer fragrance to stay away from. But outside of that, this stuff is classy for an all year fragrance. In fact, if we're talking just straight up smelling sophisticated, well put together, I would say the Bleu de Chanel, Dior Homme, and Hero are probably the 3 best out of all these, with maybe Elixir kind of like right in there also. I already have one Ralph Lauren up here. Now I got another one, my little rinky-dink bottle of Polo 67 Extreme. Bloop, bloop. So in this fragrance, a bunch of fruit off the top. We've got pineapple, we have citrus, all of that coming together as soon as you spray it on. As it dries down, a little bit of leather, woodiness, geranium in there as well. For a fresher type of scent, the longevity is solid, the projection is very nice also. And typically these fragrances, Polo 67, when they hit discounters, get a pretty decent discount compared to full retail, which some of these don't get discounted as heavily. Dior, for example, typically doesn't. YSL, not really. JPG, not that much. But Ralph Lauren, you can typically, after they've been out for a little bit, scoop them up for a much better deal. As of right this millisecond, I think this one is maybe a little bit too new still to find for a really nice markdown. But keep your eyes open on that one, or keep your eyes open on that one. But yeah, Keep looking for that one at discounters in the future because it should start to get marked down pretty nicely. And when you can find it for a solid discount, that's when it's worth scooping up. Check it out, Boss Bottled Beyond. Now, admittedly, this is not as big of a attention grabber as, say, the YSL, the JPG, Bad Boy, Eros Flame, Rouse Club New York. All of those are gonna be more of getting noticed, okay? This is more so just smelling well-to-do, smelling very modern, gentlemanly, like that kind of thing. The note breakdown is horrifically boring, really just mind-numbingly boring. Shout out to all the companies out there who go through all of the iterations of coming up with the new fragrance, a new bottle, the new everything. And then they go, man, we've put in so much work. Can we just puke out 3 crappy notes? That would be sick. If we could just give our fragrance 0 personality. You know, absolutely nothing to set it apart against the competition. If we could do that, my life would be complete. Ginger, leather, and woods. How exciting. In terms of the scent itself, it's got this minerality to it, which is gonna draw some comparisons to fragrances like Ganymede or PDM's Castley. It has a tinge of sweetness in there, but not too terribly much. Mainly just a very clean, stripped back, classy scent. Now this will get you noticed more than that one, but it doesn't smell quite as classy. Born in Roma Coral Fantasy. Here we're talking about crisp red apple off the top, sweet, attention grabbing immediately, tobacco as it dries down. A really easy wearing tobacco, no smokiness or anything like that, just more sweet. Great performance, great fragrance. This is one of those ones where if you know, you know. And then the last one, Michael Kors Absolute. Now this one has a big, bold citrus when you first spray it on. The lemon note that's in here is a little bit tangy, a little bit rindy, but also very fresh and sweet. There's also mint in here. There's pink pepper, a bunch of lavender, and then modern woods as it hits that full dry down. So this is one my wife loves. She thinks the opening is amazing. But if you're somebody who just doesn't really like that citrus, and I mean citrus that has a bit of that rindiness to it, you know, a somewhat more natural leaning citrus. Not that this is a photorealistic citrus, it's just a lot of fragrances that use citrus in them lean more toward that sweet, idealized version of citrus where they kind of take part of that sharpness out. And this one leaves more of it in. It's got solid performance. You can pick it up for roughly $70 or so nowadays. And to an extent, not one-to-one or anything like that at all, but to an extent, it's like a designer version of Blue Talisman, you know? Kind of like Explorer is to Aventus, but this is maybe a little bit closer to Aventus, but this is kind of like that for Blue Talisman. So there we go, guys, 15 fragrances, designers, if you wanna wear just one scent all year long, 365, 366 on leap year. One of these will do it for you. I wanna thank you guys for hanging with me here until the end. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.